Well, today's video, Xtool sent me this little handheld. It's a D5S automotive scan tool, little OBD adapter. I'm going to hook up to my wife's car real quick, a 2018 Buick Enclavinator, and we're going to go through some functions and features of it. So right now, we're having a problem with the tire pressure monitor. It tells us, and you got a little light on right there. If we go up, come up to our tire pressure monitor, our right rear is not reading for some reason. So we're going to use this little D5S and see what we can do. So the D5S has 5 system diagnostics, over 15 reset services. It supports CAN, FD, FCA, full OBD2 functions, one-touch Wi-Fi updates, 4-in-1 graphing, auto scan, and auto VIN. And cool thing about it is you get free lifetime updates. Now, on a lot of scan tools, when you buy them new, you'll get like 2 to 3 years of updates. And after that, you have to purchase more updates. Everybody's prices are all over the place. The last scan tool I had was a Autel, their Max System 9OS, which is like a programming one. I think the updates are $950 or $1,100 or something like that. It's just what manufacturers do to get you to update it. And there are, there's different functions that come out and everything. They do need to be updated, and they can't really make a scan tool that doesn't need to be updated. Now, every scan tool out there will always have the OBD2 functions where you can just use it as a generic code reader, access whatever car. Even if yours wasn't updated since 2019 and it's 2025, you can still access the generic OBD2 functions. But past your update, if your updates only go to like 2020 and you hook up to a 2023, a lot of the special functions won't be there. You won't be able to do any programming if your scan tool has that feature to program, or key programming or anything like that. So this one, free lifetime updates. So to get here, we're going to hit auto scan, do auto identification, see if it'll read the VIN number. Now, I've had a problem with this car not working with scan tools that well. For whatever reason, it won't read the VIN number. It'll read the VIN number, but then I still have to manually put some information in, and I think it's only something to do with Buick's ridiculousness. But while this thing's going, normal price for this is about $170. If you do the Black Friday deal, you can get it for $147 out the door. Make a pretty good stocking stuffer, gift for a friend, gift for if you got a teenager or something getting into cars and tools and whatnot, it's good to have a little scan tool. One of my absolute favorite scan tools is a little Bluetooth OBD2 dongle with the Torque Pro app. But with the Torque Pro app, you don't really have a lot of any bidirectional functions, and I think they have a couple of them now, but there's just a lot of things it won't do. You're not going to do tire pressure monitor system. You're not going to release the electric park brake if it has one, and it's just it's kind of a glorified code reader. It's better than just a generic code reader in my opinion, but a little setup like this, little Xtool is going to be give you a lot more functions and features. So it doesn't want us having the engine started, so we're going to shut that off. Then we're going to hold our ignition button down until our gauges come on. Now we're on key on engine off mode. Hit OK. Try auto scan again. All right, it says we have an electronic brake control. Let's see what that is. Communication bus A off. I don't know what that means. Let's do DTC report. It shows the only one we have right now. Go to system selection. We'll go to engine control module. This one does have start and stop. I wish it didn't. I really don't like the automatic start and stop. If you guys are unfamiliar with that, I guess they decided or they figured out that whenever you pull up to a stop sign, if your engine shuts off and it just stays off for a while until you release your brake, then the engine automatically starts and it's supposed to save emissions. Every time I hear it go off, I think like, well, I'm wearing the starter out. The starter is like, it has less amount of starts available every single time it does that. And it's kind of annoying because sometimes I pull up to a stop sign and the engine shuts off and starts right back up, and you kind of feel the whole car move a little bit. So we know we don't have any codes in here. So let's do live data. Go ahead and start the engine. I'm going to go to engine data and RPM. Let's see what happens when we go to RPM. I think just let us graph it. Give a little throttle there. So something like that. You can tell if you're trying to diagnose a faulty throttle position sensor or pedal or something. With the key off, you can actually go through the full sweep. It's handier than you think, but it will mess you up in long term if you're trying to use the graphing feature of scan tools. The sampling rate on these scan tools is getting better, but it's not on oscilloscope. So let's go down. We'll find our O2 sensors. Looks like I passed them. Short term. There we go. All right. So our heated oxygen sensor, bank 2, sensor 1. Look at that. We'll do a snap throttle test. Okay, what else does do? We have automatic transmission systems. So our pressures and whatnot. Start stop system data. System off. It's just going to give us more information. Engine coding and HVAC data. Let's try that. Cylinder deactivation, drive mode selection data, electrical, engine mechanical, fuel injector, trim. Misfire data. So let's go back. Let's go all the way back. Way back. Go to our special function to see what we have. Okay, you complete the ABS system, battery monitor system reset, EGR, exhaust gas recirculation relearn, electric park brake release. If it has DPF, you can do, I think you can do regens on it. It's probably not going to let us because it won't communicate. But it will do DPF regen, so that's good. Alright. It does do tire pressure monitoring. Now you do have to have another little tool to go around and point it towards your tire pressure monitor to do a relearn. The VCI's vehicle communication interface. We'll go America, Buick, Enclave. I believe we have... I don't know if it's 315. Let's try this one. Diagnostics. Please turn on the vehicle, ignition switch. Yeah, that's done. Failed. Okay, let's go back. Let's try this one. Diagnostics. Communication failed. I think you have to have a little adapter for this. I don't think you can just use this OBD2 cord for it. I like the special functions menu because it simplifies. Like you can get to ABS bleeding by going through this specific ABS control module, but it just puts it right there. So our OBD2, this is like your generic code reader. You can do an auto scan. It's going to figure out what protocol we're in. And let's try this one. Component test, mode 8. So mode 6 is actually, if you don't know about mode 6, it's actually a really good thing to learn about. You can have a lot of emissions data, and it gives you a lot more information than you would actually think. Our constant registered lean value. If you guys don't know what mode 6 is, I highly encourage you to find a YouTube video or read about it online. Misfire cylinder data. Your readiness monitors, monitor status. So if you don't know what monitor status is, on your emission systems and places you have emissions testing, they hook up a scan tool. It kind of looks like this, a big cord that goes into it. And they check to see if your monitors are actually okay. Your misfire monitor, it'll just say okay, it'll say failed, or it'll say not complete. If it's not complete, then you have to do like a drive cycle or figure out what it needs to do that. So catalyst monitoring in this drive cycle is incomplete. So you'd have to drive it until that actually shows okay, complete. Not for since this drive cycle, since DTCs were cleared. If I clear all the DTCs right now, all these will say incomplete until you drive it long enough and hit the specific mode that it's looking for in order to perform its own self-test. Not a bad little handheld tool. You know, for $147. And like I said, if it's Christmas coming up, they have a Black Friday deal. If you're looking for something to give like a car guy or somebody just getting into the automotive mechanic industry and they don't have a scan tool yet, I'm sure you're like me. You can't afford to buy, that person the $1,200 all bells and whistles, does everything and the latest things, and sliced bread kind of scan tool. But you still want to get them something. This would be a perfect scan tool to get them. Now, I will tell you that this doesn't have bidirectional controls. Bidirectional comes at a price point. No scan tool that's really, really cheap is going to have bidirectional scan tools. You have to get up in like the $250, $350 range to get bidirectional. And what bidirectional will do is every vehicle has their own specific tests that you can do. So as an example, this went on with another scan tool. I could do like a cylinder cutout test or a cylinder power balance test. I can actuate some functions. So bidirectional means, two directions of communication. So this scan tool is omnidirectional or one directional. I think I said that right. Let me know in the comments if I said that wrong. It's a single direction, so it'll read data from the car, but don't really control. Now, it's not exactly not a bidirectional. It's not technically bidirectional, but as an example, on this car, it has electric park brakes in the back. On the caliper, there's a little motor, and when you hit this button right here, that actually sets or releases the brakes in the back. Now, when you go to do the brakes on this car, if you don't retract that actuator and all the way and get it ready for service mode, you're going to be fighting with it and you're going to break something. On some cars, I don't know if this is still a thing or not. I just remember this when I worked at a Volkswagen dealer. If you pulled the wheel off and you undid everything, if you moved the wheel, the computer was still active, even with the key off. It would sense that the vehicle was rolling and it would automatically apply the brake in the back. That was in 2006, 2007. I don't know if cars still do that or not. It seems like a function that would probably be kind of important. If the car starts moving, apply the park brake. Can be a dangerous situation, especially if you're a mechanic and you got your fingers in there, then that's not going to be good. I don't know if new vehicles do that or not. Let me know down in the comments. So I've worked on nothing but heavy equipment since about 2015. I work on mainly heavy equipment. I work on some fleet trucks. They're generally Ford F-350, 450, 550s, trucks that size, 18-wheelers and everything. A lot of that technology isn't on the newer heavy-duty trucks, so I haven't personally had to deal with it. I deal mainly with diesels and diesel emissions, like DPF systems, stuff like that, and equipment. It's a lot of hydraulics and a lot of worn and torn parts, so I'm not exactly sure. You guys let me know, but I really do like the company Xtool. I've been dealing with them for a while. They're very easy to deal with. A little transparency, they did send me this and trade for a video, so I do have a vested interest in a video, but I wouldn't make the video and tell you guys to, you should try a product out if I didn't try it myself. I didn't have some hands-on experience with it, and I didn't I think it was a good product that you're going to get the most bang for your buck out. Xtool has a whole freaking line of scan tools out there, and they fit every price budget. See what you need, see what you want to. This is a very, in my opinion, it's a very, very good entry-level scan tool to get you into it. Or if you're just the occasional shade tree mechanic, you just need something to read clear codes, and you just need a couple of the features and functions. If you want to do the tire pressure monitoring, you can do some of the tire pressure monitoring stuff on this. But if you're going to relearn tire pressure monitors, there's another little device that you have to have that activates a signal on each one. Now, every vehicle has a particular way that you can relearn those without a scan tool. And it's usually something like, okay, your tire pressure is supposed to be at 35. Set all the tires at 35. Put it in relearn mode. Go to the right rear. Let some air out until you hear the horn honk. Then you go to the left rear, then the front right, then the left front. And after all four have been done, the horn will honk like twice. Honk, honk, or 3 times or something. And then it's actually relearned all the tire pressure monitors. So you don't have to have that. That little tool is handy if you're in a tire shop or in a situation where you're doing a lot of them. Then you need to get that tool because it's just going to save you some time. And you can, in my opinion, better diagnose it. But it's not exactly 100% needed. I've gotten by without having one for a very long time. Every manufacturer out there has their own specific how to relearn tire pressure monitors. In this car, the reason on is really just because of the age of the vehicle. The tire pressure monitors on every wheel has a small little tiny battery in it. There's no way to recharge a tire pressure monitor. As soon as you put that battery in, it starts taking a very small amount of electricity from the battery, uses it, and it just depletes over time. So after so many years, 5, 6, 7, 10 years, the batteries are depleted. Now, the thing that sucks is when the tire pressure monitors first came out, you could just pop them out. There's a little door, access door, pop that door out, put a little watch battery back in it, put the door back in, put it in the tire, relearn it, you're good to go. But they've done away with all that. Now they're a completely 100% sealed unit that you have to replace the whole unit. And the reason they did that is because when you have the little access door, you have a point of moisture migration to be able to get into the sensor and ruin the sensor. When you air your tires up, there is moisture in the air of your tire. Even if you're getting your tires nitrogen filled, which doesn't seem to be very common anymore, you are still not putting 100% nitrogen into your tires. So there's still moisture in there. And I know somebody in the comments is going to tell me, but they work at a dealer and their tire pressure monitor or their nitrogen filling station says it has 1,000% nitrogen and only whatever. No, it doesn't. All of those little nitrogen filling stations that you see at the dealers, and you're like, pay $10 per tire, get nitrogen, right? It's a coalescing filter. Coalescing filters are only capable of supplying, I think it's about 89% or right at 90%, 85 to 90% nitrogen. So the other 10% is air. Now there could be a dryer setup on it, like a desiccant filter that goes through and removes the moisture. But when you put the tire on the wheel, there's air in the tire with moisture in it. Unless you put the tire on the wheel, you vacuum out all the air, or you have some sort of purge setup, which I've never heard about, never seen, then you can get all the air out of the tire. But that's the reason they don't put the little access doors on them anymore, because moisture was just a problem. Because 99.99999% of people, they're not going to have 100% nitrogen in their tires under any circumstances. But hope you guys liked the video. Check out the Xtool D5S. I think it's a good little handheld scan tool. Very good entry-level unit. If you wanted to upgrade and go to a bigger scan tool, you watch my other video. I have the Xtool IP9 something Pro, 919 Pro, that does programming and coding. And has all the bells and whistles on it and everything, and it's pretty capable scan tool. Hope you liked the video. There'll be a link down in the description for that scan tool. Hit that link. If you buy it before Black Friday, you get a discount on it. That makes it $147. Normally priced at like $175, I think. So check it out. And if you do check it out, like it, throw it down in the description. I'd like to know. I'd like to read some feedback on it. Well, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and get out and fix something.